person who should be applauded is the president who did the most selfless thing that anybody's done since George Washington.
Imagine the very foundation of Hollywood glamour, that shimmering facade of effortless charm and untouchable prestige, suddenly cracking under immense pressure. A seismic event is brewing, a scandal so utterly unexpected, so breathtakingly public that it threatens to eclipse every red carpet premiere and blockbuster release. We're talking about a clash of titans, a collision of egos that sent shockwaves reverberating through the industry's gilded corridors. On one side, George Clooney, for decades the undisputed king of charm, a cinematic icon whose very name conjures images of sophistication and box office gold. On the other, Bill Maher, the razor tongue of late-night television, a provocateur known for his unyielding opinions and a comedic scalpel that dissects hypocrisy with ruthless precision. What cataclysmic event could possibly pit these two Hollywood heavyweights against each other in such a spectacular and damaging fashion? What series of missteps and misjudgments led to a feud so explosive it became the scandal that defined the year? Prepare to delve into a world of bruised egos, public humiliation played out on the grandest stage, and a confrontation that exposed a brutal truth about the shifting sands of fame and influence in the modern media landscape. This is the story of when George Clooney went to war with Bill Maher, and Hollywood held its breath.
And that's really the truth, and all the rest of it will be long gone and forgotten. And so I'm just very proud of where we are in the state of the world right now, which I think many people are surprised by, and I think we're all very excited for the future.
The initial tremor in this Hollywood earthquake began innocently enough, masked as a routine act of civic responsibility. George Clooney, a figure often lauded for his political engagement and humanitarian efforts, decided to lend his considerable star power to a cause he believed in, encouraging voter turnout. He conceived and starred in a public service announcement, a political advertisement intended to resonate with everyday Americans as they approach the ballot box. The message on the surface was simple and seemingly benign, a call to exercise their democratic right, a gentle nudge towards participation. Clooney envisioned it as a positive contribution, a way to utilize his platform for the greater good and reinforce his image as a conscientious celebrity. However, in the hypersensitive, rapidly evolving climate of modern public discourse, good intentions are no shield against critical backlash. Instead of the anticipated wave of appreciation and nods of approval, the advertisement was met with a torrent of negativity, a digital deluge of disapproval that quickly morphed into outright condemnation. The internet erupted with scorn, accusations of being tone deaf and out of touch echoing across social media platforms. Critics decried the message as patronizing, disconnected from the realities faced by ordinary voters, and, perhaps most damagingly, painfully desperate. A transparent attempt to cling to relevance in an industry that constantly demands fresh faces and narratives. What was intended as a unifying message became a lightning rod for criticism, an instant online punchline that undermined Clooney's carefully cultivated persona. In the unforgiving arena of public perception, this wasn't a mere stumble, it was a dramatic fall from a pedestal. The rules of engagement had irrevocably changed in Hollywood. The forgiving embrace once extended to its cherished icons had evaporated, replaced by a zero-tolerance environment where even a minor misstep could trigger a swift and potentially irreversible career crisis. George Clooney, once seemingly immune to such tremors, suddenly found himself at the epicenter of a very public earthquake. Recognizing the rapidly escalating damage and the urgent need to regain control of his public narrative, Clooney and his crisis management team sprang into action. They understood the gravity of the situation. Silence would be interpreted as admission, and further missteps could accelerate the downward spiral. A proactive and strategic response was paramount. They brainstormed avenues for redemption, seeking a platform that could not only reach a vast audience, but also lend credibility and gravitas to Clooney's attempt at course correction. Their sights landed on one name, one show, one man: Real Time with Bill Maher. HBO's Real Time was not just another talk show, it was a cultural institution, a bastion of sharp political commentary and intellectual debate helmed by the unapologetically opinionated Bill Maher. Maher's show commanded a massive and fiercely loyal viewership, particularly among politically engaged and intellectually curious demographics. An appearance on Real Time, they reasoned, would be the ultimate stage for Clooney to address the controversy head-on, to showcase contrition, or at least nuanced explanation, and to pivot back to his image as an insightful and politically aware figure. The strategy was meticulously calculated. Clooney, leveraging his inherent charisma and decades of media savvy, would navigate Maher Maher's often challenging interview style, disarm the audience with his trademark wit, and deliver a performance of carefully crafted sincerity. The goal was to offer a mea culpa for the perceived misstep of the ad, while seamlessly transitioning into a broader discussion of political issues, reminding viewers of his intellectual depth and genuine engagement with current affairs. Real Time wasn't merely a platform. In their eyes, it was the critical hinge upon which Clooney's entire redemption arc swung. The success of this appearance was deemed crucial, the stakes were stratospheric, and the entire plan hinged on securing that coveted spot on Maher's show.
Before you cast your vote in this election, think about how it'll impact the people you care about the most. Remember, you can vote any way you want, and no one will ever know.
Do your patriotic duty?
You bet I did, brother.
What happens in the booth stays in the booth.
Armed with their meticulously crafted proposal, Clooney's representatives approached the production team at Real Time, anticipating a favorable reception, perhaps even enthusiasm. After all, securing George Clooney, even amidst a public relations storm, seemed like a guaranteed ratings boost, a major coup for any talk show. They envisioned producers welcoming the opportunity, recognizing the potential for a captivating and highly publicized interview. However, the response they encountered was not just lukewarm, it was ice cold, a resounding and unequivocal no, directly from the show's gatekeeper, Bill Maher himself. The rejection was swift, decisive, and utterly unexpected. Maher reportedly dismissed the proposal with a bluntness that left no room for interpretation. His rationale, as relayed by insiders, was stark and uncompromising. Real Time, he asserted, was not a rehabilitation center for celebrities seeking to repair their damaged reputations. For Maher, the very idea of George Clooney utilizing his platform as a vehicle for crisis management was not only inappropriate but also fundamentally misaligned with the show's core principles. Real Time had painstakingly cultivated its brand as a forum for serious political discourse, a space for substantive debate and critical analysis of current events. It was not and would not become a sanctuary for out-of-touch Hollywood elites looking to whitewash their public image and regain favor. Maher fiercely protected the integrity of his show, his commitment to genuine political commentary, and the expectations of his discerning audience. This initial rejection was far more than a mere setback. It was a profound and humbling reality check for Clooney and his team. It signaled that in the realm of authentic discourse, celebrity clout alone held little sway, and that Bill Maher was a gatekeeper who could not be charmed or persuaded by conventional Hollywood influence. Undeterred by the initial rebuff, and perhaps fueled by a mixture of desperation and the ingrained Hollywood belief that every door can eventually be opened with the right leverage, Clooney's team doubled down on their efforts. They returned to the Real Time producers with a revised and significantly enhanced offer, attempting to sweeten the pot and make the proposition irresistible. This time, they presented the allure of exclusivity, framing the proposed appearance as a singular, can't-miss event. They pitched a tell-all interview spectacle, promising bombshell revelations, direct and unscripted rebuttals to Clooney's critics, and a media frenzy guaranteed to dominate news cycles and social media feeds for weeks to come. They painted a vivid picture of soaring ratings, unprecedented online engagement, and a cultural moment that would solidify Real Time's position as the epicenter of relevant and must-watch television. They emphasized the potential for viral clips, for headlines screaming across every news outlet, for a level of public attention that few interviews could command. Despite the increasingly enticing incentives, Maher remained resolutely unmoved, his stance as firm as granite. He saw through the layers of PR spin and recognized the underlying motive: image rehabilitation thinly veiled as a journalistic coup. Hosting Clooney, in Maher's estimation, would not elevate Real Time's standing. It would in fact diminish it, blurring the lines between serious political analysis and celebrity spectacle. Maher's unwavering resolve stemmed from a deeper conviction. He believed that his viewers tuned in for genuine insights and critical perspectives on political matters, not for a staged celebrity redemption narrative disguised as an interview. As Maher reportedly articulated with characteristic bluntness, cutting to the core of the issue, George Clooney may be a cinematic icon, but let's be honest, has he actually swayed a single election? Celebrities opining on politics may generate buzz, but they rarely shift the real political landscape where it truly counts. In policy, in legislation, in the actual lives of voters. With each successive rejection, the tension mounted, the stakes escalated, and the public humiliation for Clooney became increasingly palpable, a stark contrast to his usual aura of invincibility. Yet, rather than concede defeat, they persisted, driven by a potent cocktail of desperation, Hollywood hubris, and a deep-seated unfamiliarity with the word no. In a final, almost audacious maneuver, Clooney's team, grasping at straws, proposed a high-stakes gamble, a live, unscripted Q&A session. The concept was radical, unprecedented for a celebrity of Clooney's stature facing such scrutiny. Clooney himself would step into the lion's den, fielding raw, unfiltered questions directly from a live studio audience, a crowd potentially filled with his harshest critics. The aim was to project an image of unvarnished sincerity, to demonstrate a willingness to engage directly with public concerns in real time, and to somehow, through sheer force of personality and perceived authenticity, orchestrate a miraculous reversal of public sentiment. It was a Hail Mary pass, a move that reeked of desperation but also hinted at a certain audacity, a belief that even in the face of mounting negativity, Clooney's charisma could still work its magic. But if Clooney harbored any illusions that this ultimate concession, this dramatic display of supposed vulnerability, would finally sway Maher, he was on the precipice of an even more brutal awakening. Maher rejected the Q&A proposal with the same unwavering resolve he had demonstrated from the outset, and it was at this juncture that the situation veered sharply into personal territory, transforming from a professional disagreement into a full-blown feud. After enduring 3 consecutive and increasingly public rejections, Clooney, reportedly stung to the core by wounded pride and a deep sense of personal affront, decided to bypass the intermediaries and take matters into his own hands. He reached out to Maher directly, initiating a personal communication. Clooney proposed a no-holds-barred, unscripted conversation between them, man to man, a direct appeal to clear the air, to understand the seemingly impenetrable impasse, to perhaps appeal to a sense of professional courtesy or even camaraderie. However, Maher remained unyielding, his position seemingly impervious to personal appeals or celebrity charm. In fact, insiders whisper that Maher's response to Clooney's personal overture was even more cutting, more dismissive than before. He allegedly told Clooney in no uncertain terms, "This show isn't a rehab clinic for Hollywood egos, George." For Maher, this was no longer simply about protecting ratings or maintaining the thematic integrity of real time. It had become a matter of principle, a defense of his platform against what he perceived as the self-serving machinations of celebrity culture. And for Clooney, this rejection was more than just a professional setback. It was a deeply personal and public humiliation. For decades, Clooney had operated within a sphere of near universal adoration, a realm where doors opened effortlessly, where his name alone commanded respect and deference. Now, for the first time in his illustrious career, he wasn't just being denied access, he was being publicly and personally dismissed, his celebrity currency rendered worthless in the face of Maher's unwavering stance. The sting was profound, the blow to his ego considerable. Behind the scenes, tensions escalated rapidly, the animosity simmering beneath the surface threatening to boil over. Maher, never one to shy away from controversy or to mince words, reportedly began openly mocking Clooney in private conversations with staff and colleagues. According to sources close to the show, Maher joked that Clooney's relentless persistence was bordering on pathetic, comparing it with characteristic sarcasm to auditioning for a pity party, suggesting that Clooney was more interested in sympathy than genuine dialogue. These barbed comments, initially confined to private circles, inevitably leaked, as such things often do in Hollywood, finding their way back to Clooney, igniting a firestorm of fury and resentment. And just when it appeared the situation couldn't possibly escalate further, Maher, with a calculated move that amplified the feud onto the public stage, took the conflict directly to his real-time audience. During the opening monologue of his next real-time broadcast, Maher unleashed a scathing, albeit indirect, critique of Hollywood's perceived detachment and desperate scramble for relevance in the political sphere. He delivered a pointed and sardonic commentary on the phenomenon of wealthy, out-of-touch celebrities who, he implied, mistook their fame for political acumen, who believed their opinions, simply by virtue of their celebrity status, held some inherent weight or wisdom. He ridiculed actors who conflated box office appeal with political authority, authority who seemed to believe that their pronouncements on complex socio-political issues were somehow more insightful or impactful than those of experts or ordinary citizens. Crucially, Maher never explicitly named George Clooney during this monologue. However, for anyone even vaguely following the unfolding drama between the two men, the target of Maher's thinly veiled barbs was painfully obvious. The timing was too precise, the context too specific, the message resonated with unmistakable clarity throughout Hollywood and across the media landscape. Clooney, watching from afar, understood the implicit but undeniable message. He was being publicly dressed down, not just rejected, but openly mocked on national television by a figure he had sought out for redemption. Unwilling to let this public insult stand unchallenged and unanswered, Clooney and his team, reeling from the Maher debacle, frantically pivoted to Plan B. They initiated a frantic search for alternative media platforms, scrambling to secure appearances on outlets known for their unfiltered, tell-all interview formats. The Howard Stern Show, notorious for its deep dives into celebrity controversies and its willingness to delve into personal and often uncomfortable territory, emerged as a potential lifeline. The battle for public perception wasn't over yet, but Clooney was rapidly running out of viable options, and more critically, running out of allies within the very industry he had once dominated. However, even the typically freewheeling and controversy-embracing Howard Stern Show exhibited a surprising degree of hesitation. Sources within Stern's production team revealed a growing wariness about associating their show too closely with Clooney's rapidly deteriorating public image. His name, once a guarantee of ratings and prestige, now carried the taint of controversy, transforming from Hollywood royalty into a potential PR liability, a minefield that even Stern's famously irreverent show might be wise to avoid. Behind the scenes, the pressure on Clooney was immense, the strain visibly taking its toll. One insider described him as being in a state of full meltdown, not just consumed by anger towards Maher, but directing his frustration and resentment at the entire Hollywood ecosystem, the very industry that had once embraced him so wholeheartedly. He feels utterly betrayed, one close source confided, as if the entire industry has collectively turned its back on him overnight. For a man whose entire career had been predicated on effortless charm, widespread adoration, and the seemingly unwavering support of the Hollywood establishment, this sudden and dramatic shift into anger, frustration, and isolation was profoundly disorienting and deeply unsettling. It wasn't merely the media landscape that had undergone a seismic shift, it was Clooney's own carefully constructed world crumbling around him. Throughout the escalating feud and the ensuing media frenzy, Bill Maher remained remarkably unfazed, his public demeanor consistently nonchalant, his resolve unwavering. While he continued to avoid explicitly naming Clooney in his on-air pronouncements, the context of his commentary and the industry gossip swirling around the conflict left no room for ambiguity. For Maher, this wasn't just another fleeting Hollywood spat, a momentary clash of egos soon to be forgotten. He viewed his firm stance against Clooney's attempts to utilize real time for damage control as a deliberate and calculated statement, a declaration of principles that resonated far beyond the immediate celebrity squabble. By steadfastly shutting the door on Clooney, Maher was effectively solidifying his position as a gatekeeper of authenticity in an increasingly manufactured media landscape. He was drawing a clear line in the sand, asserting that his platform, Real Time, would not be co-opted as a tool for celebrity image rehabilitation, that it would remain a space dedicated to genuine political discourse, untainted by the superficiality and self-promotion often associated with Hollywood culture. The clash between Clooney and Maher had, almost unexpectedly, morphed into Hollywood's defining controversy of the year, eclipsing all other celebrity news and industry chatter. But its significance extended far beyond the personal animosity between two prominent figures. This feud served as a potent symbol of a much larger, more profound transformation underway within the entertainment industry and the broader media environment. It underscored a seismic shift in power dynamics, a recalibration of influence in an age dominated by social media and rapidly evolving public sentiment. The relentless churn of online opinion, the instantaneous judgment of social media mobs, and the heightened sensitivity to perceived inauthenticity had collectively eroded the once unassailable walls of celebrity privilege. Even titans like George Clooney, icons who had long seemed immune to the capricious tides of public favor, were now discovering, often with brutal force, years, that the ground beneath them was anything but stable. The old rules of Hollywood engagement, the implicit contracts of deference and forgiveness were crumbling, with major studios reportedly subtly distancing themselves from Clooney, with talk shows, even those known for embracing controversy, hesitating to offer him a platform. Clooney's traditional avenues for a public comeback were rapidly vanishing. And so, the central question looming over Hollywood, hanging heavy in the air amidst the fading echoes of scandal, is both stark and unsettling. Can George Clooney, a man who for decades embodied the very essence of Hollywood charisma and seemingly effortless success, orchestrate a miraculous comeback? Can he navigate this treacherous new media landscape, reclaim his tarnished crown as the king of charm, and restore his once unblemished image? Or is this dramatic clash with Bill Maher, this public humbling at the hands of a talk show host, the defining moment that signals a definitive turning of the page in Hollywood history? Is this the point at which the industry, forever in pursuit of the fresh and the relevant, finally moves on from one of its brightest, longest burning stars, relegating him to the annals of a bygone era? Is George Clooney destined to become a cautionary tale, a symbol of the new vulnerabilities of fame in a world where even the most untouchable icons can fall from grace with a single perceived misstep? One thing remains unequivocally certain: this Hollywood drama, this intricate dance of egos and shifting power dynamics, is far from reaching its final act. The narrative is still unfolding, the consequences still rippling outwards. What are your predictions? Has Clooney's golden era definitively drawn to a close? Or do you believe he possesses the resilience, the adaptability, and perhaps even the self-awareness to engineer a genuine redemption? Share your insights, your theories, and your predictions in the comments section below. We want to hear your perspectives on this evolving Hollywood saga. And if you found this deep dive into the Clooney-Maher feud illuminating and engaging, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel for more behind-the-scenes explorations of Hollywood's most captivating stories, and join us next time as we continue to unravel the ever-fascinating tapestry of fame, fortune, and public perception in the entertainment world. Until then, stay tuned and keep watching.